Hello, my name's Heather, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 11 plus. Normally, the 11 plus comes in two sections. The first one includes some kind of reading where you are looking at a comprehension, a piece of text, and then answering a number of different questions about the text. And the second part is a writing task where you are either asked to write a fiction piece, such as a short story, or a non-fiction piece such as a letter. When it comes to the first part, the comprehension, it is really important to have a wide knowledge of different vocabulary, language techniques, and also why things and their effect. So why different words are being used within the text and the effect that that has on the reader. When it comes to the shorter answers, when they're only looking for one or two words or multiple choice where you just have to tick the right answer, it's really important to underline the keywords in the question to make sure that you are finding the exact words they are looking for within the text, as they can sometimes make these a little bit tricky. When it comes to longer answer questions, and the way to see if this is going to be a longer answer question is to look for words such as explain and describe and to see how many marks are on offer. So if it's 4, 5 or more marks, you know that they want a little bit more than one or two words. When they are looking for you to describe or explain an answer, what they want is you to really be able to show that you can analyse the language being used. One way that I approach this is by using a PEE structure, which is point, evidence, explain. So for example, if they ask you to describe the weather, your point might be that the weather is extremely bad. Then, for your evidence, you will find a small quote from the text, only a little quote, that shows why the weather is so terrible. So maybe the rain was hitting the ground like bullets. For your explain, you then need to talk about why that quote shows that the weather is so bad, making sure to include any terminology such as the language techniques being used. So like bullets is a simile, so you'd make sure to say that it is a simile and then talk about the different language. So you might talk about the force that the rain is using to hit the ground, how it seems almost violent in the way that it is pouring down from the sky, and that actually it does really suggest a dangerous feel to the whole extract. When it comes to the writing part, this one can be a little bit tricky. So you only get about, depending on where you're sitting the test, about 30 minutes. So especially when it comes to stories, you need to keep it quite contained because you need to make sure that you do your beginning, middle and end in that time. A way to do this is to only include one or two characters. Any more can get a little bit out of hand and you don't have enough time to properly describe them and to take us through their journey. Another thing is to only have maybe one or two locations where, again, you can really describe them and show the reader and let them be able to imagine exactly what is happening, as well as being able to give yourself the time to finish. You've probably heard this before, but people often say to plan. It is really important to plan, even if it's just a couple of minutes at the beginning and it is a very simple plan. It is really important to have one to keep you on track so your story does not divert down into different pathways when you're writing it. So let's think of a little example of a nice short story that you might write that is well contained and you can do in the 30 minutes. Thinking of the storm, I'm going to imagine that my character is in a storm at the beginning of the text. So maybe they're at home, the weather has got really bad. We start off with some kind of action really to grab that reader from the beginning, but then in the middle section we need the tension to rise. So in my story, she's going to have discovered that her sister has left the house in a panic in the bad weather. And she needs to find her as the weather is getting worse and worse. So at this point, the tension is raised higher when she leaves the house and is outside in the terrible weather trying to find her loved one. At the ending, we want the tension to come down and for there to be a nice conclusion that sums up the whole story. So in my story, I'm going to give it a happy ending. She finds her sister and the storm starts to clear. Within this story, there's only a couple of scenes, there's only 2 characters, and the second one is only introduced at the end. So that means that I would easily be able to contain all of these elements within the 30 minutes. I hope you found this video useful, and I really look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.